understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
What do you desire that you can't have?
When I eat a brain, I get visions.
Don't ever come back to Gotham.
You have failed this city.
Jesus, what kind of a preacher are you?
There's about a dozen ways that I could stop you right now. But I don't think I have to.
Because where I'm from, your grandson becomes the greatest hero in the universe.
Now you should at least give a brother a moment to say something heroically clever.
In the future, my friends may not be heroes, but if we succeed, they will be remembered as legends.
Welcome to the DC TV report for the week ending Saturday, March 16th, 2019. I'm Edward O'Hare, nickname to be determined.
And I'm Sara, academic by day, freelance writer by night.
We're here to bring you recaps, news, and commentary for all live-action television shows based on DC Comics.
And we have 5 new episodes this week. The Fox gave us a week off this week.
Yes, including one penultimate episode.
Yeah, that went fast. Are you ready to say goodbye to Black Lightning next week?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll get to it when we get to it. But yeah. I mean, stuff's starting to go down. It's weird. Like that show's ending, but and Gotham is nearing its close too. I think that only has like 3 episodes left.
3 left. Yep.
Yeah, and all the other shows are going to be around for like another 2 months. And then we got iZombie and Swamp Thing right around the corner. So we're moving through here.
We're not going to be without shows.
Yeah. Sarah, have you had a fun week this week?
And something terrible happened this week.
Oh, what was that?
My TiVo hard drive died.
Oh.
I had so much aspirational TV on there. I'm going to get to it. I'm going to finish up that season. I'm going to circle back to that show. Now, it's gone. I've had it for 5 years, I think. Gone. Everything is gone. I will never know where I left off on the 100. I'm halfway through Winona Earp, the most recent season. I don't know where I left off. I'm going to have to figure that out. I had so many documentaries that I was definitely going to watch on there and just dead. And I've been a TiVo person since 2003. I don't think I'm replacing my TiVo. This is hard. The cord cutting comes for us all, I guess. So it's been a weekend. Okay, I lost shows and I have a whole identity crisis. If I'm not TiVo, who am I? I don't know, man. How was your week?
I'm okay. I think
Ed's never asking me how I am again.
I think the 100's on Netflix.
Right, but I don't know where I left off, and it's all just like a muddy slog, and so I can't visually tell from episode to episode. I love the show, don't get me wrong. I just,
Okay.
Bellark forever. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, this makes me long for the days when, we used to record things on VHS tapes.
Oh, did you have elaborate recording timer setups for your VCR? Because I did.
Yes. Oh, yes. My father, when he was in the Army stationed in Texas, came across this incredible device that he was able to hook up to the cable box so that we could watch one channel and the VCR would record on another.
Oh, shut your mouth. That was possible.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, it was mostly it had to be broadcast channels. So we could watch a show on cable, that was like a cable channel. And as long as the other show we were recording was on CBS, NBC, Fox, one of those, it would record it. And that worked right up until digital cable came along. Once we went HD, that was no longer possible because it was using HDMI cables instead of coaxial cables. But yeah.
I'm so sorry that Jason isn't here because he did used to manage Radio Shacks and he would really love to jump in on this coax conversation.
So that's what we're talking about today. Radio Shack. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what the O'Hare family was up to in 1995. So when Carol Danvers smashed that blockbuster, that's what my family was worrying about.
Oh, buddy, that was my sweet spot. That was. I was graduating from high school. That was my soundtrack. That was so good. This is a DC podcast, but
yes,
so good.
yes. Oh well, because you hadn't seen it when we recorded last episode.
Correct. So Ed was vibrating with excitement over what he'd seen in Captain Marvel, and I hadn't seen it yet, and was like, "If you spoil me, I will drive there and cut you." So I left the theater the day we recorded that evening and texted Ed just Goose, and then a million happy crying cat emojis because Goose.
Yeah. We don't have to go in detail about the movie, but I think you should let the listeners know your views on Goose.
Goose is everything. I've quit my job. I've shaved my head. I've started the cult of Goose. Join me.
Mm-hmm.
We have fish treats.
So you're all about the Flurkins?
Yes. Oh, and I loved Captain Marvel was great. I love the way they kept playing with Fury's eye wound, and was it a perfect movie? No. Did I enjoy it? Yes, every second. So go see Captain Marvel.
Cool.
And in a couple weeks, go see Shazam.
Yes.
For parity's sake.
Speaking of which, 2 days ago, I recorded an episode. I was a guest on a podcast called Jacked Kirby, with two guys, Tommy Lombardozzi and Mike D. They host a show that's dedicated to probably the most influential comic artist of the 20th century, Jack Kirby. And I got to talk about the one issue of Captain Marvel Adventures that he drew. So yeah, there's Captain Marvel crossover, and so I'm kind of like in demand. I'm gonna be a guest on a couple shows, because I love Shazam and Captain Marvel, and I got to talk about him. That was really cool. I think that episode is going to drop in a couple of weeks, so be on the lookout for that.
I love that you've been spending your whole life building yourself up to the in-demand guest when it comes to that particular comic character. Congratulations.
Yes. I'm so excited. All right, but not as excited. Actually, no. I'm very, very excited. But
don't downplay this.
Yes, but I was also excited for the 5 episodes that we got to watch this week. Sarah, you ready to dive in?
Oh, we're transition machines this week. Absolutely.
Yes. All right. So first up is Supergirl, Season 4, Episode 14, Stand and Deliver. Kara, John, and Nia began rounding up the elite, while Manchester Black planned to steal tech from the Fortress of Solitude. Alex was ordered to protect Ben Lockwood during a rally he organized to announce the repeal of alien amnesty. James was reminded of what good journalism is all about. Last minute reveal, James Olsen was shot in the back at his Catco office.
James! No.
Oh no, it might be time.
That was a fast morning period. We'll circle back to James in a second. I have a bigger question.
Okay.
I forgive this show a number of plot holes because I like the characters so much, and I just it's a sunny, bouncy show, and I appreciate it for what it is. But did Supergirl really put on a blanket and introduce herself as Kara? And wouldn't, I don't know, Alex say, Kara? That's weird. My sister's Kara. Oh, wait a second. Like, I forgive the superhero identity thing a lot, but and the intent was so great. The intent, like, she joins them, she walks, she's not patrolling, she's with them. That was amazing. But like, don't give them your name, lady. Make up I'm Dara. I'm Susan. I'm Karen.
I don't know. Maybe John's mind wipe was so strong, so impenetrable that, like, Alex's brain is working not to make those connections. Maybe that's how she was able to pull it off. Maybe like once they confront her, she won't even believe it herself. Maybe.
But what about all the other people at the march? Kara's not low profile. Wasn't she on the talk show debating Ben Lockwood? I want to love you, and I don't want to be tripped up by these bus-sized potholes, but like,
yeah, I mean, no one really watches cable news.
And if you do, it's just like mash that falls from your brain 30 minutes later. Anyway, that said, this was an episode with many, many stirring speeches. I loved all of them. Journalism is powerful. Grassroots activism works. Citizens should make their voices heard. Stronger together. Yes. I liked it a lot. I love The Elite. Ed, are you enjoying The Elite?
Yes, I do. I like The Elite. I'm a little disappointed that they broke up so fast.
Yeah, that happened quickly. I'm hoping they break out because I love them.
Yeah. And we got Plenty of Hat, who I thought was gone for a while and then kind of came back. Yeah. Manchester needs to work on his leadership skills.
Well, he didn't set out to be a leader. He was just forced into that role. So what are you going to do?
Yeah. But I do think that the show has done a very good job of showing the opposite ends of the spectrum and showing the two extremes of Ben Lockwood and Manchester Black. And kind of showing how, like, from a certain point of view, they're both wrong, and Kara's trying to get people to go to the middle, but the problem is when you have such extreme poles, people are pulled to either end of the spectrum. And I think the show is doing a very good job of that, and I'm a little worried as to whether or not it's become too polarized, and I'm interested to see how they're going to try to resolve that.
I'm with you. I am curious to see how they resolve this, because Kara is, she says it almost every week. How do I defeat this? How do I stop Manchester without it looking like I sympathize with Ben, and vice versa? And it's an interesting poll, but what's do they Watchmen this? And does Red Daughter come and unify people at the end of the season in one direction? I don't know how you get out of this. I guess this week showed us that Supergirl was able to, actually no, Kara, she was in public with that name, unite people through her good actions, that she was able to reach that Ben Lockwood aid by being her good self. And he then, helped an alien out of the brawl at the end. And so when she is her usual uplifting, does the right thing self, she inspires people. I don't know if they're going to do that writ large, and I don't know what that would look like, but that felt like the mini theme this week.
Yeah.
Also, that was Jonathan Bennett from Mean Girls, so we knew he wasn't going to end the episode bad. You don't give us, Jonathan Bennett and not.
Oh, is that it?
Oh, yeah. Brush up on your Mean Girls, Ed.
Oh, okay. A lot of
Irene, come and get your brother. Make him watch this.
Well, when I was at Brooklyn College, they were shooting all of the scenes from Yale for Gossip Girl on our campus. So, I have had some interaction with that show. I don't think I've ever watched a full episode.
I have questions about your Gossip Girl experience. Maybe not for right now. But
yeah, well, I didn't see anything. I just remember there were trailers all around, and people looking equipment, and they saying, oh, they're shooting Gossip Girl here. I'm like, why? I'm like, yeah, because our campus looks like Yale.
Did you get a sense of overwhelming style and wealth and privilege and like plots, menacing social climbing plots? You know what? Let's move past this.
I just knew I had to walk around all these trailers to get to my Spike Lee class. That's all I knew.
You took a Spike. I have so many questions about this whole conversation. How was your Spike Lee class?
It was a lot of fun. I was by someone who literally edited the book on Spike Lee.
Wow.
A shout out to Professor Masood.
Where were we?
Yes, yeah, we were talking about Supergirl.
I was pretty much done, except that I do love the scene where Alex is assigned to Ben's personal protection, and he touches her shoulder, and she gives him a look like, try again. Do that one more time. That was great. That's all.
Yeah. A couple of things. Oh yeah, Colonel Haley kind of showed up to like warn Lena. Lena did just pretty much completely ignored her.
Yeah, you don't tell Lena what to do. You don't tell Best Olsen what to do.
Yeah, and yeah, let's talk about James and good journalism.
I mean, and you know me. When you got to that scene, did you know that I would be like, yes, he's so good journalism changes the world. This is why we became journalists. Yes. And then he gets a bullet in the back for his trouble.
Yep.
So earlier, Ed, you said good riddance?
I did not say good riddance. I just, that character kind of like outlived his usefulness in season 1, and I feel like they've been kind of spinning tires looking for something to give him to do. They tried making him Guardian. That didn't really work. They had some, social justice stuff with him last season that hasn't really stuck. Lena broke up with him. I feel like, it's a great idea to have Jimmy Olsen be on Supergirl, but the character just hasn't really gelled with anything. So I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know if that was, was it the actor? Was it the chemistry with Kara? Was it, I don't know. I don't know why he was such a mess. I feel like Wynn fit in a little better, and Wynn is not from the comic, right? I mean, he's not as prominent in the comic anyway. If he doesn't,
no.
And he, I thought, had a better. He gelled better with the show, and I miss him with him gone this season. But James, I feel so bad. I wanted to love him. He's Superman's friend James, but it just never worked. So if he actually, there was some speculation online that this could be curtains for James Olsen, in part because he really hasn't had much purpose since season 1. And can we pivot to the news, Ed? Was that work?
Yeah, definitely.
And we do have news that James's sister Kelly is going to be introduced this episode this week, and she is going to be a regular next season. So the question, played by Azai Tesfaye, the question is, does this show need 2 Olsens?
I mean, I'm not sure if it really needs 1. So
okay. Well, can this show support 2 Olsens? I feel like no.
Yeah.
So I don't. Is that?
I'm just hoping that she has a really cool personality. So we'll find out next week. Lex Luthor's also coming by next week, right? He was in the.
Yes. So we're meeting Kelly Olsen. We're meeting Lex Luthor, and before I leave Kelly, apparently next season she may be a love interest for Alex. So I hope she does. I hope that Olsen Danvers pairing is better than the previous Olsen Danvers pairing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, John Cryer said in an interview with EW that he signed on to play Lex Luthor in part as redemption for Superman 4. And when I say the word Superman 4, what goes through your mind?
Oh, there was a time when like 3-year-old Ed loved Superman 4. Because that was the one where he fought Nuclear Man, and like he actually had like a bad guy who was just as strong as him.
When did Ed realize it was hot trash?
Ooh, probably sometime around high school. There's still like a soft spot for it. It's kind of like a guilty pleasure for me.
Is this like how you feel about Ewoks? Depends on what age you saw Ewoks first.
I think so. Yeah.
Fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. I mean, I can, objectively, it's not a great movie. But there is still that some charm to it. Gene Hackman's great, and Lenny is like Lenny is the fun guy who has absolutely no place being there.
Well, apparently John Cryer himself was a huge Superman fan, and so when he got the chance to be in the movie, he was like, "Yeah, heck yeah." And then everybody hated it, and he was so hurt by it. And in EW, he said, I was like 14 years old, and it really hurt me. Ed, say what you said off air.
He was 22 when he did that movie.
I love the thought that looking back, he feels like he was 14, but in fact, he was pretty well grown. He was pretty much a man. So. Anyway, that's your John Cryer report.
Yeah. Well, my favorite part of that is Lex Luthor escapes from prison and begins this plan of world domination by attaching something to a nuclear weapon that gets thrown into the sun to create this super being. And while doing that, he has to babysit his teenage nephew that gets foisted upon him.
It tracks. That all tracks.
Yeah. I want to know how his sister tracked him down.
Does his sister have nobody better in her life to care for her son?
Oh, you're free? All right, you're watching Lenny.
No, but I have to. Nope. He's your nephew. He needs time with another Luthor.
He needs a good male role model. All right.
Last bit of news.
Last bit of news. Okay.
Yes. The March 31st episode is called All About Eve, in which Supergirl deals with the destructive aftermath of Lex's plans and will face her biggest challenge yet. I wonder, All About Eve, of course, is a movie with an older woman facing a younger ingenue. Is Supergirl finally going to meet Red Daughter?
Ooh, maybe.
I love it. I hope so.
Maybe. So, I'm fastening my seatbelt for that bumpy ride.
Slow clap. All right. Was that also in your Spike Lee class?
All About Eve?
Yeah, no. I obviously. All right, move on.
Oh, sorry. Okay. All right. Next show up is Arrow, Season 7, Episode 15, Training Day. In the present, Oliver and company had a difficult time adjusting to standard police procedures while investigating a medical executive selling acid bullets to gangbangers. Bronze Tiger offered Laurel the identity of Diaz's murderer in exchange for time with his son. In the future, William and Mia went back to the black market looking for a mini cassette player so they could listen to the tape Felicity left for them. Last minute reveal, Felicity's recording gave Mia and William coordinates over the wall in the heart of the Glades.
You know, this was a busy episode.
Yes, it was.
And the best part was Felicity near tears when they talked about only using legally attained data.
Yes. Yeah.
The worst part was that the SCPD training does not involve any salmon ladders.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. The whole time watching this, I just heard I just kept hearing that line from Jack Reacher where Tom Cruise just goes, just remember, you wanted this. Because the whole time Oliver's trying to convince himself, yeah, this is going to be fine. You know, we could work this out. This is, you know, we could do what we want. And, you know, I mean, we're going to have to wear their uniforms and follow their rules. And, you know, I can't beat people up anymore. But, you know, it's like, come on, man, this isn't you.
Yeah. None of us wants this. Nobody wants this.
Yeah. It's almost like, you know, fans who were so happy that, you know, with all the stuff that happened last week, that the producers are kind of bringing them down to earth and like, yeah, this is what you wanted, man. But yeah. Also, there was one moment, and I promised on Twitter that we would talk about when Oliver gets Midas, the executive, to admit what he's been doing, and Oliver gets it on tape and thinking, yes, all right, we have the evidence we need. I promised that you and I would explain how that is the most coerced confession in the history of television.
Actually, I was sitting next to a prominent local defense attorney when I was watching it. It's Jason. And his quote is, it's not fruit of the poisonous tree if you can get the info elsewhere, but that confession would not be admissible. So make of that what you will.
Yes.
I always enjoy when fruit of the poisonous tree comes up. That's about illegally obtained evidence. But
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's not gonna, I don't think any police department's gonna like that. The district attorney is not gonna like that. Harvey Dent or whoever, I don't know, is not gonna like that. No.
Yeah. Well, hey, I got him to confess. You were holding his face over a vat of acid, of hydrochloric acid.
And I just have to ask, are you trying to make the Joker? Because that's how you get Jokers.
Yeah. Hey, why do you think I used audio instead of video?
Just go back to arrowing, please. Please go back to arrowing.
Real quick, one tweet out for Arrow at Molly2910. My jaw is still on the floor that Bronze Tiger's son is Connor Hawke. Yeah, I thought it was did you think it was interesting to finally get a little bit of clarity as to why Connor's last name isn't Diggle?
I don't feel like I have that much clarity still. How did that happen? I mean, but how, there's a lot of dots to connect still, but yes, I was glad to have another piece of that puzzle. I will say the showrunners said we're going to get a lot more answers sort of cascading for the rest of the season. And I think they're following through on that. I feel like we are getting more reveals. And so I'm glad. I'm glad at the pace that these things are coming.
Yeah, I think so too. Now,
before we leave the present for the flash forward, I just have to say I've super enjoyed seeing original Team Arrow together in the bunker. I like that the reason that they want to maybe re-embrace that is for their children. That's a nice motivation, I thought. Diggle's always been Elicity's biggest fan, so it's nice that he got to be the first one to know about, little Elicity. And then Felicity and Oliver exchanged a wink because she's pregnant and nobody else knows, and they winked and it was adorable. Okay, we can move on.
Okay.
Oh, and I feel bad for Dinah and her cut throat.
Yeah. That's rough. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Speaking of rough, you want to talk about the flash forwards?
Sure. Yeah. So, Mia and William, looking for that cassette player.
Hey, question. If you walked into a flea market today, do you think you could find a mini cassette recorder in the year of our Lord 2019?
Maybe, if you looked hard enough. Depends on the size of the flea market, the area. I mean, there's usually like one guy with a table full of gadgets.
I guess my point is, does that guy have that in 2040?
Yeah, probably not. Yeah. My favorite part is that, Mia does not trust William at all in that place. And
she's right.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, don't do anything stupid, don't touch anything. And then she just walks off and leaves him alone.
She trusts that he can follow orders.
Yeah.
And he can't.
Yes, yeah. And he does spend $500 for that cassette player and then has it swiped off him by a pickpocket. I did think it was cool to see Mia kind of stretch those muscles and beat up that merchant. We got to see them work together a little bit more, and get a sense, they're sort of understanding each other. And they're kind of dedicated to this. I'm still a little confused as to whether or not Felicity is still alive. And kind of like what's going on there and why is she sending them over the wall?
I don't know. It was interesting to see them listen to her message, which that's fine. I remain depressed by how those two children grew up. I just need some time traveler to fix this.
Yeah, well, maybe not now, but
Maybe if
right.
there's some sort of crisis. Like a
Crisis. Yeah. That's probably not going to happen until next season.
I think you're right.
All right. Was there any news for Arrow this week?
Nope. That's it for Arrow.
All right. Okay. Moving on to Black Lightning, Season 2, penultimate episode, The Book of the Apocalypse, Chapter 1, The Alpha. Jefferson laid down ground rules for Jennifer and Anissa to abide if they wanted to be heroes. Anissa figured out Grace may be a shapeshifter. Tobias was ready to unleash his metas and started selling them on the dark web. Lala went back to the old man who revived him and asked for help killing Tobias. Lynn encouraged Wendy to get therapy, watched some upsetting news reports, and was completely oblivious that her boss was monitoring her family. Last minute reveal: after Tobias drove away, Jennifer collapsed in a ball of fire and faded into the words, "To be continued."
Okay, I don't care what happens, but Jennifer better be okay. I mean, I know she will, but like,
Yeah.
Jennifer forever.
Yeah. I mean, damn. Shouldn't have left her alone.
Yeah, no kid who's that excited about her superhero costume should be left alone with that superhero costume. No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's, what was Lynn doing? I mean, she was probably off work by then.
Being oblivious, apparently.
Yes. Yeah, it's, I think it's time for a new job. I think it's,
dust off that resume. You don't have to be at the same job forever. You're not legally committed for life. So maybe start looking around.
Yeah, I think you kind of outlived your usefulness there.
Maybe hit up monster.com and see what they got. Do people still use monster.com?
Yeah.
Or if you're Michael Scott, monsters.com.
Yeah, and I think he's Agent Odell. It's kind of worried, I think it to the point I kind of thought he was going to try to kill her like 3 different times in the last week.
Yeah. Maybe in the finale he'll finally make an attempt and she'll be like, wait a second. I do kind of want her to walk into the monitor room and see her living room and figure it out. That'd be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in the finale.
Maybe.
Okay, so I have a question. If you have a meta named Cold Snap and a meta named Heat Stroke, do you not store them side by side just to be safe? Because that feels like you don't want those two streams to cross,
Yeah. I mean, maybe they just offset each other. Maybe that's the kind of thing. You don't know if one's more powerful than the other.
So you just keep their pods side by side, just so balance.
Yeah, and then of course you've got Body Wave to kind of balance them out.
I kind of wish that we were seeing everybody deal with this 30-year time jump. Just a little scene of like, here's TV in your phone, and oh, by the way, here's your phone. So I realize in a show as busy as this, that's not reasonable, but that's a lot of change. Those poor pod people. That's all.
Yeah, although heat stroke was kind of like a huge problem for Jefferson and Anissa this week,
which I thought was really cool. Actually, they weren't fighting bullets or anything. It was a meta with sort of similar powers. That was cool.
Yeah, I thought that was a fun fight scene. I think Tobias is being a little he's really playing it loose with his merchandise.
Gotta keep that pristine.
Yeah, I mean, he
don't want any nicks or dings.
Yeah, I mean, he even punched out one pod and just took out that's probably like $10 million. He just destroyed right there. I don't know how much a meta sells for.
You want to be able to mark them as used like new and not used good condition.
Yeah, exactly. So much to go through. Lala. I was expecting a little bit more this week, but we did get a little bit of context. We find out the guy who revived him was a huge fan of Lady Eve. and
Weren't
is
we all?
yeah, yeah, yeah. She's missed. She's missed. But so he's not as hot on Tobias either. And Lala was actually able to go through, had a little run in with Cutter. Was really amazed that she couldn't kill him. Um is Tobias kind of like painting himself into a corner that he might not be able to get out of?
Well, yes, and that actually leads into my next question, which is, does Tobias die in the finale, which is this airing this week, or does he need to? I mean, do you feel like that character has run its course?
I don't know. I don't know. I see, like, because I feel like he's the big bad of the show. I don't know where the show goes if he dies. Um, that's an interesting thing. I think he could be
So
neutralized.
he's more like Kingpin in Daredevil, where he's just the constant undercurrent, as opposed to like Prometheus and Arrow, where it's a kind of a one season thing.
Yeah. So I think maybe they can defeat him and like destroy the metas and really set him back. But I don't know if I want him to die just yet, man.
Who will listen to jazz and give us menacing speeches?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That was one other tweet that we got for Black Lightning was from @Deke273. Watched Black Lightning last night and can't wait to hear you guys cover Jefferson's declaration on the dinner table. So yeah, Jefferson.
Is this the thou shalt not kill?
Yeah, laying down his 3 rules, which were keep your secret identity secret. You always have backup when you go through, so don't take on anything alone. And you don't kill ever. I mean, to me, I think this is like, a season and a half too late.
That's kind of a day one thing.
But it's interesting that he waited until now to throw down those 3 rules.
If I were Jennifer, I'd be like, wait a second, my older sister's been doing this for a while. Did she have rules? Are these just rules for me? Thanks, Dad.
Yeah. I mean, he's doing what a lot of dads do. He's playing it by ear, kind of like going through along and trying to fix mistakes as they happen.
Which, if I may, is this show's strong suit. I mean, the dad superhero family, the pride and the concern, the fear and all of that comes with fathering, superhero daughters. I love all of it, but you're right. It does seem like he would have put the smack down on this earlier. No. Here are the rules.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting how, immediately, like, it doesn't even take a full episode for them to start bending and breaking those rules, and kind of working together on it. Jennifer encouraging Anissa to try to learn more about Grace, and go after. We didn't have a lot of movement on that storyline, but at least she helped Grace come to the conclusion that it might be a shapeshifter.
Yeah, I like that teamwork. And, I think a lot of this is just setting up for the finale. Lala, the Grace thing, it feels like that stuff is going to come to a head this coming week.
Yeah.
One thing that surprised me was the episode opened with the police shooting a metahuman, a green light baby, basically, who couldn't control his powers. And that was really hard to watch. But I can't believe the show didn't do more with that. I feel like season 1, they would have spent a little more time talking about the effects in the community, and they just kind of glossed over it in a way that I found really surprising and really unlike the show that we knew last year. That really stood out to me, and I wish they'd done a little more with it.
Yeah. I mean, it seemed like the only time you had any kind of, they went back to that storyline was when Lynn was watching it on the news. I agree with you. I'm surprised that, we didn't get, a scene between Jefferson and Inspector Henderson, kind of like finding out like, what are you guys doing with this? Because
or a community protest or something. They just were a little more aware of those issues in season 1 and season 2. They have a lot of plot to get through. I know, superhero plot, but that just the show was so grounded and so involved in, I think, real world issues and tensions, and it was just kind of strange that they were like, well, this happened, okay, next.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's something Reverend Holt would have done too, but he's kind of been he's been taken out of commission. So yeah, maybe next week they'll have a reference to it. I don't know, but you're right that is surprising. All right. Is there anything else you wanted to say about the episode?
No, and we don't have any news for Black Lightning either, other than that's the finale this week, so buckle up.
All right. Next show up is The Flash. Season 5, episode 16, Failure is an Orphan. Nora was anxious to help Barry prepare for his final confrontation with Cicada. Iris was bummed that Norris was probably going to leave soon. Joe felt awkward about Cecile using her powers when they questioned Dr. Ambrose together. Last minute reveal, a grown-up Grace took off her cicada mask and was happy to see her Uncle Orland.
Do you feel like they tried to keep the identity of the other cicada secret for a moment? That was so clearly a female in that outfit. It was not a surprise reveal for me.
Yeah. Not really as stealthy as Arrow handled Emiko.
Yes, maybe that it suffered in comparison to that. Not that it wasn't cool. I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. I just was like, no, we see this. Grace was kind of a dick earlier, and so now we've got, So.
Yeah, and I think that's also kind of the point. I think this is again Nora, and I think this might be a miscalculation on Eobard Thawne's end, where they're changing the timeline, and now they captured Dwyer. That may be what triggered Grace to go back in time and save her uncle.
And so is that what triggers Nora, do you think? Oh, no, that can't. Oh, did I just get caught up in a time paradox?
Yes, you did. You did. And all right, we're going to try to get you out of it. Don't worry.
I just have to hit my grandpa with a car, right? I'll take my grandpa out. It just...
Remember, you got to hit him with the car, but he has to live.
Yeah.
So
anyway.
So the real thing that was going on is that Nora was way too anxious this week and kept really annoying everybody because she was trying to figure out how to capture Cicada and make sure that Barry knew the right thing to say.
I thought it was certainly a choice to make this episode about Barry's speeches. What speech is Barry going to give?
Yes.
Oy. Yes. That was bold.
Yeah. The whole thing, putting it through she was putting it through some type of screening process. Basically, she was making a word map of all the things that Barry's used to help other villains figure stuff out. And I think the problem here is, with all of those other villains, he did it off the cuff and he knew what to say. And here he's trying to think about it beforehand instead of trusting his gut.
Yeah, and it was fine. It was a very Barry thing. That feels like that A+ kid in school science nerd would worry about, like, what's the perfect, how do I get my homework right, And so it's very on brand. It was fine. It was fine. Just bring back the giant shark, I guess, is how I felt.
Oh, okay.
A little trivia. Adult Grace there at the end is played by Sara Carter, who I guess probably people know most recently from Falling Skies on, what was that, USA? But she played, what's her name in Smallville, who was like, I feel like swim fan. She was an obsessive fan of Clark's, and so she's a Smallville person who came over to the Flash.
That was a retro pick that I did back when this is a Wicked Theory segment. I know that episode where she, yeah,
I know that.
Yeah,
episode.
That was like Clark's first girlfriend other than Lana. Yeah, yeah.
And she gets a little obsessive.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen it since it aired on TV, which I recorded with one of my TiVos, R.I.P. But that's who that was. I think she's super Canadian, which is why she's in all the Canadian productions. So, anyways, I always like it when you see that in-world DC crossover.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
when did Cecile get great?
Oh,
when did I turn around on Cecile? When did this happen?
This happened like I think at the beginning of this season.
I think Joe was gone, so they had to give Joe's greatness to somebody, and it went to Cecile.
Yes, yeah. She's been kind of filling in for Joe. And you kind of worried that, when Joe came back, maybe she might not be as great, but I thought this was an interesting, domestic squabble that we had this week.
It was fun, for as much as it's about meta powers, it felt realistic. She has gained new abilities and a new confidence, and it's not that he doesn't encourage her, he just doesn't know how to work with it. And that was fun to see how does this mesh professionally, what she can do now and what I always have done. Yeah.
And I thought it was a good use of her powers, and it's fun to see Joe kind of have a bit of a character arc, and I thought that moment where he and Barry helped each other kind of figure out each other's issues, I thought that was great.
And I've missed that. That's why I'm glad. That's why I'm so glad Jesse L. Martin is back, because the Joe Barry relationship is so beautiful.
Yeah, it was like it's the kind of it's almost like Cat Grant on Supergirl, where like you don't realize the hole that she left in that show until she comes back for an episode. Like, to me,
that's a really good way to put it. Yeah. Like, Supergirl's great, but Cat Grant comes back and you're like, oh yeah, this used to be what this show was. Oh.
Yeah. And Joe, the second Joe and Barry sat down and had that talk, I was like, oh my God, I've missed this. I missed this so much. Yeah, I thought that was a great moment. Not that the show's been bad without him, but like it's missing that one key element. So yeah, and Iris had a tough time this week. I wasn't as into this storyline.
Actually, this is one of the times, maybe it's because it didn't involve as much journalism, but I felt for her. She knows that her daughter is probably going to jump back to the future, and I think she probably remembers how much her daughter resented her when she arrived from the future. So of course you want to cram as much as you can into the experience, but it did kind of feel like mom on vacation trying to get the whole family to do things, and you're just like, nah, I just want to lay on the beach, mom. Don't make me. No, but we need to go here and do this. Let's get photos here. Yeah. No, mom, come on. Kind of felt like
that. Well, it's also it's kind of like when your parents come to visit you for the week, but you still have to go to work every day.
Yes. Yeah, I would love to go with you to the Empire State Building, but I got this 9 to 5 and the commute is hell, and just maybe on the weekend.
Yeah. So, all right. Yeah, but so we have a lot of things to look forward to. It looks like next week might finally be the time when Nora kind of like turns around to Barry and Iris and says, "Yeah, here's what's going on."
For which I say, oh, thank God.
Yes. So, all right. So this show's coming through, and we still got like 7 or 8 episodes left. So, buckle up.
Oh, that seems like a lot when you say it like that.
Well, 16. They usually do 23, so 7 episodes. All right. What's what? Any news for Flash?
Tiny little bit. Well, not that tiny. Season 6 will have a new showrunner. Todd Helbing is being replaced by Eric Wallace. Eric Wallace has been an EP on the show for a couple of years now, so hopefully we won't see much of a difference in on-screen quality. I will say this season has not had anything quite like the trial of Barry Allen, for which I am grateful. So hopefully we'll continue on that kind of upswing. So big news for the show. I don't know how big that will translate for, effects next season that the audience will actually see. If that makes sense.
All right. We'll see. Okay. All right. And our final episode for this week is Doom Patrol, Season 1, Episode 5, Paw Patrol. The D-Creator hung in the sky, blinking people and things out of existence, while the Chief returned to Doom Manor with a plan he cooked up with Mr. Nobody. Mr. Nobody went back to 1977 and asked one of Jane's personalities to organize the psych ward into the cult of the Recreator. In the present, Jane and Cliff were stuck in Nirnheim and realized they were inside a snow globe. Last minute reveal, Crazy Jane remembered that Mr. Nobody asked her to look for the Doom Patrol.
What's the Doom Patrol? So I will say, no show in memory has made me consistently say every week, I didn't expect the fill in the blank. And this week, honestly, I didn't expect the aging cult dance party. I didn't expect the giant stare off between two enormous eyes in the sky. I didn't expect the talking cockroach. Like, there's this show, man. Oh, this show.
Yeah. I love how that cockroach still has not been explained.
No,
and
it has not.
And I hope they never do. I hope.
Same. I don't know if anybody out there listens to Welcome to Night Vale, the podcast. Ed, are you?
No, I know of it, but I don't listen to it regularly. Mm-hmm.
Sure, and I haven't listened in a couple of years, but I was a big fan of the early seasons, and the whole, like, the reporter reporting on the eye and the Mr. Nobody narration all gives this cheerful, surreal vibe where things happen and people are just like, yep, there's eyes in the sky, we're reporting on it. That very cool, matter-of-fact vibe. When Alan Tudyk said, well, I haven't been on the last 2 episodes. Oh, I'm aware. I've missed you, sir. He is such a great addition to the show.
Yeah.
Less good, the giant terrifying clowns. I was not pleased to see them back for another week.
Yeah, no. But we did get some T-Dalt. We did get some more T-Dalt in there. The Chief was back. I found it one interesting that, like, his first instinct when he gets in is to ignore everyone and go to his secret candy drawer. And that, evidently hearing Mr. Nobody's name causes him to, projectile vomit.
So weird.
It was an odd little quirk to throw in there. He's walking. So Mr. Nobody's kind of fixed him up a little bit. It's weird. Like, we still don't really understand, like, what his plan is. Why does nobody need the Chief? And basically they only decided to help each other and come back because, the world was being decreated at a constant rate. We got to learn.
I'm sorry. Wait, I can't believe I didn't start with this, but puppy.
Yes, there was a puppy.
Puppy. Okay.
yeah, there was a puppy, and we learned a lot more about Jane's backstory.
I dug it.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. I think seeing her in a 70s punk club, that made perfect sense. I thought those scenes with orderlies seemed that was really mean. But that
was a lot of, like, stomach crotch kicking. Yeah. That's not good.
Yeah, and I can't say I'm surprised. And that Dr. Harrison personality, those are the physical changes, like her eyes turned blue and she got, like, the gray streak in her hair,
that the glorious Steinem streak of gray. Yeah.
I really liked that personality. I thought that was very interesting, a lot of fun. I was really disappointed nobody stopped that doctor from stabbing himself in the eye.
Oh, no to the eye trauma. If I had a loser of the week, it would be eyes, honestly.
But yeah.
I was glad to see the talking horse back. We have a name for her. Her name is Baphomet. And she said, what did she say was it the Chief? She said, "You really do turn my trot into a gallop." I can't remember who she said it to. I just remember you turn my trot.
Yeah,
into
it was
a
the
gallop.
chief. It was the chief.
Okay, well, of course. Timothy Dalton also turns my trot into a gallop, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean that is the first when he smiled at her. That's the first time in the show where I've seen his James Bond peek through just a little bit.
I bet somebody has written fanfic about Timothy Dalton and Baphomet the spikehead horse. I mean, that was just palpable chemistry.
Yeah. And just trying to think, there were so many little things. Rita.
Yeah. Oh, Rita, wait, can I give you my favorite line of the episode?
Go for it.
People lie and they hurt each other and they wear these things on their feet called Crocs. Yeah.
That was funny.
Oh,
Elliot should have laughed at that.
he owed her
yes.
that.
Yes.
But I'm with you. I have lots of little notes this week. Could you explain to me the upside of ending the Earth? I just don't understand who benefits from that.
Well, I mean, I think the thing there is it's that's because it's irrational thinking. You know, we're ending the Earth because the Earth doesn't deserve to keep going on, so we might as well just stop it now, and then, you know, maybe another god will come along later and start over.
That's just so short-sighted. Giant clown lady. Come on.
Yeah. Well, you know, she was promised, while the Earth is destroyed, she'll still be able to rule over Nirnheim, with her corpse of a husband.
Or they would have until the cult member, clearly modeled after Natasha Lyonne, but older, showed up and exploded everybody.
Yes, yeah. Marilyn showing up. I loved her explanation. She's
yeah.
I went in, sliced open a priest, climbed into a snow globe. So,
I'm in the right place.
I think I'm in the right place. Yeah.
I also love, do you get a sense that every single time Brendan Fraser drops an F-bomb, he enjoys it so much? I feel like that's just some gleeful swearing.
Yeah. It's like, I could say this. I could be a tough guy. I was wholesome family fun for 20 years. Now I'm going to lay it out a little bit.
Well, and I can't remember Brendan Fraser properties where he does curse that much. And I'm sure there are some, but, as you go through The Mummy and George of the Jungle, and I can't really remember Encino Man, but I feel like he didn't have that kind of vocabulary. So his best known roles are, you're right, they're a little squeaky clean. So I'm enjoying Brendan Fraser's enjoying the language in this show.
Yeah.
I am enjoying this show.
Yeah. It's just this episode was a lot of fun. When Rita, when she went after Elliot and she was kind of caring for him, and then he got blinked out, it seems like at the end he was not recreated, or at least, they couldn't find him. So
yeah, I am curious about that as well. Did he recreate someplace else? It looked like everything came back where they were. So if you were the book, do you not get that treatment? That's too bad.
Yeah. Also, like, are those two eyes still in the sky?
No, they did go away. We saw them go away. Didn't we?
They did. Okay.
I think?
Because I just remember them staring at each other, and Willoughby said it's a staring contest, and then it just.
But we didn't see how it ever shook out. I enjoyed the staring contest idea, but then we didn't see how.
Yeah.
I wanted to see one of the eyes blink.
Yes. Yeah. Then it just cut back to the manor. Yeah. Also, the Larry does get this really brief moment where he's alone on the bus with Niles, and they're talking kind of about the negative man inside him. And it seems like Niles was under the impression that they can communicate a lot more than Larry thinks.
Uh-huh. I will be curious to see how that plays out. Yes.
Yeah. But he's, but even at the end of the episode, he's still having those terrible visions of like his family burning to death. So,
yes.
Yeah. All right. Just going through. All right. I think. Is there anything else about this episode that we haven't covered?
I don't think so. It was a pretty wild episode, but they all are.
Yeah.
And that's a compliment. So.
All right. Is there any news for Doom Patrol this week?
Actually, yes. I forgot to mention this when we were running this down off air beforehand, but DC Universe is doing a free trial through March 29th where you can watch the pilot episodes of Titans, Doom Patrol, and Young Justice Outsiders without you having to put down like a credit card or anything like that. So if you're curious about what we've been talking about and want to check out the first episodes of the 2 live action shows plus Young Justice Outsiders, apparently if you download the app, you don't have to give up any of your personal information and you can see what the fuss is about. So I swear we are not getting paid by DC Universe. That is not a promoted tweet. That was just me letting you know.
That's cool. Yeah.
So yeah.
Check.
Anyway, that's it.
Okay. All right. And I think now we're on to news for other shows.
Yeah, and we don't have much this week, but what we do have is interesting. So let's start with Gotham. It took a week off this week, but we do have a leak of the bat suit that Batman will don in presumably the flash forward episodes that are to come.
Okay.
Ed, you checked out the bat suit. What did you think?
Yeah, it looks good. You know, it's more in the style of like the 90s era Batman. You know, it's an all black suit. Looks like there's a lot of rubber in it.
The best Batman. Yeah, I said it. The best Batman. Michael Keaton is my Batman.
Yeah. It's
no nipples. I think it's important to point that out. It's the first thing I look for.
Yes, no nipples. You know, we should not have to report that, but it is necessary.
The people need to know. It's the first question on everybody's minds. Where are the bat nipples? Are they covered? It has kind of like, I don't know, sort of a crisscross action on the armor plate on the stomach, which I thought I hadn't seen that in other Batman suits. I'm not a scholar of Batman suits, so I could be wrong. But it looks in line with others, but unique enough that it's like, okay, that's Gotham's Batman suit.
Yeah. And to be fair, this was a leaked photo. This is a set photo. It wasn't an official still. So we don't know exactly what this is going to look like on screen, but I do think it was interesting to take a look at it.
Yeah, we could have just told you entirely fake news. That could be a red herring for all of us, and the bat suit is actually made of velour. I don't know, but what we saw looked cool. Mm-hmm. So Gotham is back this week, so we'll see you for that then. Moving on to Legends of Tomorrow. As a reminder, it's back on April 1st, which feels right for Legends to be back on April Fool's Day.
Yes.
Just feels appropriate. There is a trailer for the back half of the season. It really tells us nothing new, but it is really fun. You get the Legends flavor. So if you have a friend, Tanya Melendez, who has not seen it yet and has made certain promises that she'll get to it eventually, Tanya Melendez, the trailer, I think, gives you the flavor and would probably make you say, okay, yeah, this looks like a show for me.
Cool.
The second bit of news, Nate is getting a sidekick called Kid Steel.
Aww.
And I gotta say, if you're like me and barely tolerate Nate, and you hear he's getting a sidekick called Kid Steel, that's not good news. No. I do not need a kid Nate. No.
Well, the boyfriend thing wasn't working out, so maybe I'll just be a dad. Maybe that.
And this was in the middle of one of the big scoop roundup for TV articles that TV Line did, so it didn't have any context or details, so it could be for a fraction of one episode for all I know. But Kid Steel coming to a TV near you.
All right.
Keeping going on that CW track, we have a little news for Batwoman.
Batwoman music.
And that is that the pilot is going to take place before the events of the crossover.
Ah.
So it's unclear whether the whole show takes place before the events of the crossover. Doubtful. And by that, I don't mean the episode, the whole run of episodes. But the pilot itself is going to be a little bit of a throwback to before that.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And let's see, Lucifer. We haven't had a lot of Lucifer news. We're still waiting on a release date. We don't have that yet. But Maze is getting a love interest.
That sounds dangerous.
I know. I cannot wait to see who and how and what. All of it. But, she explored friendships in season 3 and what that looked like with Dr. Linda, and that really drove a lot of her plotline last season. And, love interest in season 4. I really liked her with that framed criminal that she took off after in one of the standalone episodes last season. I thought they had great chemistry. So if they want to bring him back, aces, but I'm guessing they'll introduce somebody new, and that's cool too.
Yes. It's not so much the relationship I'm worried about. I am terrified of that breakup.
And not everybody breaks up. This could be her forever. You don't know.
Okay.
All right, moving on. I think we just identified ourselves. One of us is a hopeless romantic, and the other one is a bit of a cynic. Guess which is which. And then the last bit of news for the week is for Titans.
Okay.
And this is big. This is casting news for a character we did not know was coming. This was brought to our attention by @ValorFett, so thank you for that. But Deathstroke is coming to Titans.
Deathstroke. All right. He originated on Titans, so if he's going to show up anywhere, it should be here.
Okay, so here's my thing. I have seen Deathstroke in Arrow, and that dude is lethal. What does Deathstroke look like with no rating limitations?
I know.
What does R-rated Deathstroke look like? Oh my god.
I know. Well, also remember in the early 80s, before the James Cameron movie, when he showed up, Deathstroke's full name was Deathstroke the Terminator. So...
Really?
Yes.
Did James Cameron take the Terminator from that, do you think?
Well, probably no. It was probably a coincidence. But after that movie came out, the Terminator was sort of dropped from Deathstroke's title.
Is this like a Captain Marvel Shazam thing? Oh,
sort of.
That. Please don't sue us. Anyway, he will be played by S.A. Morales, who has a variety of credits to his name. Most recently, Ozark. He was in Caprica. He was in NYPD Blue. Just a number of that kind of caliber show, I guess.
Wait a minute. S.I. Morales?
Yeah.
From La Bamba?
Yeah, okay. Well, let's not focus on the La Bamba of it.
I'm sorry. This is completely unconnected. I was not really paying attention when you threw this out before.
First of all, how dare you?
Sorry. And now this has nothing to do with the podcast. I was driving Bill Sweeney home from work the other day. And which happens from time to time.
Do you make him get in the back seat like Miss Daisy?
No,
okay.
no.
Continue.
I was really bummed out because the Giants traded Odell Beckham to the Cleveland Browns.
Wait, I feel betrayed that this has taken a right turn into sports, but continue.
Well, I was all bummed out, but I wasn't telling Bill why. And so, out of nowhere, he goes, "Oh, yeah, you're upset, huh? S.I. Morales, huh?" And I had no idea what he was talking about until now. I just thought he threw out S.I. Morales for no reason. And then we talked about him and La Bamba and how he's too old. You might have mentioned Deathstroke and I wasn't listening, and it all just clicked for me now. Wow.
Okay, you know what? There are times that I'm a little sad that we don't get more authentically live reactions to news on this podcast because we discuss it off air. So I'm genuinely delighted by whatever happened in the last 2 minutes.
I'm sorry. But okay, that casting's a little odd, but okay.
I was all about it until this. Yeah, I mean, he's like, I just googled it. He's 56. I mean, I think of Deathstroke as an older hero, I guess because of Manu Bennett.
Yeah,
I thought he looked good in the face. Oh man. I just want you to yell La Bamba periodically at me. That's just...
All right.
Wait, I'm not done with the news. Can we pull one tiny little bit more
Yes.
for Titans? According to TVLine.com, the show is casting a series regular role, a tough biracial young woman who lets nothing stand in her way, even if it means snuffing someone to get it. Does that sound like an existing character that you know of?
I mean, no one specific. I was saying before, like the only like core character from like the Marv Wolfman era Titans I could think of would be Tara. Although she's not biracial, but that doesn't, she could be.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I can't think of anyone specific, but I think it's interesting that they're going that direction. And that they're going to add another character in this season. I'll look forward to that.
Yeah. So I am quite looking forward to Titans when it comes back, whenever it comes back.
Mm-hmm. All right.
That is the news.
That's the news. All right, which means now it's time for our winners of the week.
Oh, this was rough this week.
Yeah.
I didn't see any themes. I not even really any. I don't know, man. Do you want to go first?
Well, I kind of saw a theme through some of the episodes, which was like, I guess like the past coming back or information across timelines. Because you had first off, you had, the in Arrow, they made the connection with Connor, and also Felicity, them finally getting that message. Mia and William finally getting that message from Felicity from the past. So that's sort of kind of coming through. On Flash, you had Grace come back through time to save her uncle. Now she's all grown up. And on Doom Patrol, you had, Crazy Jane, which is probably my favorite of those storylines. Mr. Nobody going back into the past to get Crazy Jane to create that cult so they could defeat the Decreator.
Yeah, you always do this better than I do. Because I'm phoning it in this week, and my winner of the week is Nora from The Flash, for the sole reason that she has her own X-espresso drink at CC Jitters. I'm sorry, Excess. Yeah, I can't even pronounce it. Nora has her own coffee drink. That is something. I feel like in a week where I enjoyed everything but didn't see any big standouts, that is worth celebrating.
Yeah. I want to know how many chances it took them to get that lightning bolt in the coffee, right?
I don't know. I've known some talented baristas. Not known them. I bought coffee from them.
Yeah.
And they can do good things. But yes, agreed. Mm-hmm. Can you picture somebody working on it after hours? I got to get this lightning bolt right. I gotta perfect it.
Yeah.
No, not good enough. Do it again. This is garbage. Toss in the sink. Do it again.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And this was a weird episode this week.
Yes, it was. Well, thank you. Thanks everyone. We finished.
Yay.
We did a podcast, Sarah. That's the DC TV report for this week. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Edward O'Hare TBD.
And I'm at Sara Netzley, SaraNetzley.
And follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. Send along your emails, dctv@wickedtheory.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our show on your podcast app of choice and rate and review us. That helps more people find us. Check out our sister shows, the Wicked Theory Podcast and Preacher vs. Preacher. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Shazam!
Shazam!